In this week's vlog, I share clips of my students learning how to use a Bunsen burner to participating in a density lab and another student learning stations activity. Also, some of my students took a field trip to the University of Texas in Austin. It was my first field trip in over 10 years. So if you're interested in checking out any of those topics, then click on the description section below this video. I've listed each day of the week with a brief description of what we did on a particular day. All you need to do is click on the timestamp and it will fast forward you to the area of interest. Furthermore, I end this vlog with just a brief overview of the entire week, so stick around.
See, that's what I'm saying.
The 6 weeks ends this week, FYI.
There's two. Two not here.
Which two? Show me here.
There's two.
When you log in, it's going to be the same computer as you had last time. If you forgot or if you weren't here, the paper is up there on the board, clipped. So in a few minutes, you can look at your number and go grab your laptop. Remember, if someone is taking your laptop, do not grab another laptop. You need to let me know, hey, my number is missing. At that point, we will figure that out. Okay, so when you log into Blend, there's going to be a couple more stations. Technology station we start on Friday, but there's the reading, the exploration, and the organization station. Several of these are right here on the left side of the room in these white bins, and they're labeled. Other than that, you go at your own pace. The other thing that we're doing is, if you have your safety contract, and it's going to be smelled it was burning, because I'm going to teach you how to light a Bunsen burner, and yes, you will light a Bunsen burner. And at some point, you'll either do it by yourself. So yes, that's what we're doing today. So I'll call you table by table and have you come to the back, but the rest of you will stay up here in the front and do it. I'll stand up here. What did you do?
Exactly. Air, vinegar, salt water.
Water.
It'd be vegetables. Would it be like a whole bunch of vegetables? You know what vegetable oil is? Yes, oil. Same thing as like vinegar. So I would think it should be vegetable. But they say vinegar is what do you think we're looking for? A hetero. Oh, I read the wrong thing.
If you want to, you can either strike it yourself or set it to but at some point you're going to do it The students are doing the Matter and Change student learning stations. However, I've modified that a little bit. Since we have our Canvas LMS, I put some of it on there so that way that would give me time to come back into the lab and teach the students how to use a Bunsen burner, because my classes are large and I didn't want to have all the students back at the same time trying to teach them. So I have them up in the front of the class doing the learning stations while I'm in the back with 4 to 5 students at a time and teaching them how to use a Bunsen burner and having them at one at a time light the Bunsen burner. So it's always interesting because they're like, oh, I'm scared, but then it's great to have that in the back of my mind when the end of the year approaches, and just remembering how they were when they first encountered using the Bunsen burner, to them just, okay, let me take out the match, strike it, and light the Bunsen burner. Because that is a skill if they go to college, whether it's community college or, you know, a big university, and they take chemistry, they're gonna have to light a Bunsen burner. So having them learn that skill while they're in high school and getting some help and then doing some labs, they were excited about doing that. They started off the class with a warm-up, so I took some common mistakes that I saw in the tests and I created a warm-up where it was like, pretend this is your classmate and this is how they set up the problem, explain what the student did wrong. And so I gave them 15 minutes for that because it was a left side interactive notebook activity. They didn't finish it, they have an opportunity to take it home. I'm trying to help some of them in terms of their grades because this is the last week of the 6-week grading period. And after that notebook activity, I'm not putting any more grades into the grade book. So right now it's lunch. I have their period off and there's one more period of the day. However, I'm going to not film that because I realized after I did my little video on Friday when I was reflecting that a lot of my time was also being taken up by vlogging, having to edit the videos, and when I really should be planning and getting set up for school, I'm dedicating that time to editing and looking at all the videos that I have. So I need to step back a little bit and focus more on me, my personal time, but then also my professional responsibilities. So I'm not going to vlog later this afternoon. I am just going to focus on me and the students, most importantly. On page 14 of your interactive notebook, what you're going to do is you're going to explain to your classmate the error or errors made in this problem. So it says one of your classmates submitted to work below, which is this part right here, in response to the following question. So it says that an elliptic hurdler accelerates at a rate of 14.5 meters per second squared. What is the rate in miles per minute squared? So you can explain, you can write the problem out, and then like draw arrows and talk to me about what's going on. But you all can work together, but your work has to be your own work.
And then figure out who's there.
That's not yet. If you missed your test, then you have until tomorrow after school to take it. I have after school to take it. So either before school tomorrow or any lunch is going to get closed, and then after school tomorrow. If you missed your test. And I put mistakes that I saw people make on their tests, so that's the reason we're doing it.
Good morning, Viking Nation. Please pardon this interruption. Today we have a senior panoramic picture that's located in front of the gym outside of the parking lot. So, teachers, at this time, please release all seniors to the panoramic picture area in front of the gym outside. Thank you and have a great day.
The ball is gonna stay right here. And the grape is gonna stay up here. And this one's gonna sink.
No, grape is gonna be down here. Yeah, because water is under. Screws obviously gonna be down here.
The simplest form of matter, made up of atoms with the same number of
You can get they're mixed together.
How long do we have to shake them up?
You feel me?
Rolling. Can you pull up to the gas pump?
Here we go. Ah!
Getting harder to start?
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, now put a hand on the bowl and then start with the other hand. There you go. Is it really crunchy? Is it crunchy?
It's not working because I use it. It's working.
What is happening?
Can you turn the lights off? Maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
Can you see what's happening?
The thunder?
Yeah. We're making electricity.
Sulfate. Go ahead and dump it in.
What? How did it turn yellow?
What? How did that turn blue?
You did a really good job. What? Not skeletal.
my God, I've had so much fun. You're my favorite group so far. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can come, you can come, you can come. Come here. Oh my God. Just careful for the bucket. Let me find it, let me find it. Okay, good, you're go. You're totally safe. Go, go, play, run. Wait. See, that's awesome. Cambridge is the best class. You have to take Cambridge. You gotta go to UT. This is the best thing possible.
You're like, if you make a slide, you're smiling, put it in there. And that's all. Yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you for the sub, a great note for this class. I appreciate that. So it says on page 22 of your interactive notebook, it says sketch in color what you observe, and I'll put the light back on. If you need to get up and you need to come and look at it, you can. Or if you want to take a picture of it and then go back here, so you can do that as well. But it says sketch in color what you observe in the large graduated cylinder. That's not really large, that's maybe medium size. And what you observe in the fish tank. Then explain what you believe is occurring in each scenario. Okay, so again, if you need to come up and look at it, yes, you need to take a picture so that when you come back to your seat, you can do that. But I'm going to put the lights back on real quick. And if you find a set of keys, let me know, because those are mine. I don't know where I left my keys now.
I don't think so.
What are you doing? You also remember you are switching with another group, so if you're like wasting time, if a group is saying waiting, back table, you're a little bit loud.
Okay.
Just, can you put them back in?
So Monday and Tuesday I started off my classes with a warm-up based on mistakes that I saw students making on the Unit 1 exam last week. Most of my students did pretty well. I had a couple A's, a couple B's, some C's, very few D's, and then a very minimal like S. I think I had 3 out of all my 150 students. So I just took mistakes that they were making on the test and I put it into a warm-up question where they had to explain what a student was doing wrong. I just made up a problem. It wasn't a real student. And they had explained what that fictitious student had done wrong. And they did that in their interactive notebook. From there, we did a matter and change student learning station. So this was our third one. However, I varied this one up a bit compared to the other two because the other two that we've done, the first week of school and then the third week of school, I had duplicate sets of each of those stations where there was a set up in front of the class and there was a set in back of the class, and students just got to pick and choose, and if there was a station in the back that was full, they came up here to see if that was available. So because I wanted to, on Monday and Tuesday, teach my students how to use and light a Bunsen burner, I didn't want to have all my students in the back. I wanted to take a small group of, well, particularly one table of students at a time, and then teach each student how to light a Bunsen burner, because I just think it's something that is important. So if they take a science course, they need to understand and not be afraid to use a Bunsen burner. So while I was back, there were students, I had students up here in the front doing part of the station activity I had placed on the Canvas site. There were still some like hands-on pieces they had to go and grab, but the other part I placed online. And the other great thing was that I created some quizzes in Camtasia, which has this interactive quiz feature. So students have to input their email address, which I had them use their district email address. And then, like at a certain point in the video, it will stop and it will ask them a quiz question, and they can't fast forward through it. They have to answer the question. And the reason I did that is because on the first two station activities in the technology station areas, I noticed that sometimes students, they weren't watching the video. They were like skipping past and fast forwarding to find the answer versus actually sitting there and really taking in what was going on in the video. So to hold them accountable, at least in my mind, I embedded some interactive quizzes. If they watch the video, they'll get the quizzes correct because they're not very difficult. After the videos in the module, there are some questions below the video, and those count for actual points for that particular section. So while I had students up here in the front doing that, I was calling group by group to the back, and I was showing them how to light the Bunsen burner. So that was kind of fun. It was always interesting just seeing students, and I think I said this, you know, several of the students were just even scared to strike the match, and then once it was with the Bunsen burner, they were okay. Monday night, I went home and I went straight to bed. Like, well, I didn't go straight to bed. I had dinner and then I went to bed at 7 o'clock. I think that's just what I really needed because I had been staying up, working late ever since the summer, fixing up my classroom. I think I said this last week as well, and I just really hadn't had time to take to myself. One of the other things that I realized is 7 years ago, all I did is I taught and I had a personal life. That was it. Now it's I teach, I have my personal life, I do teacher pay teachers, and now I vlog. And while I sort of knew that, I don't think I fully sat back and like realized what was going on and why I was tired all the time and why also I was falling behind, because time that I should have been dedicating to preparing for my job, I was putting my vlog together, like my week 3 vlog. That literally took, long story short, it took more time than I needed to take to, you know, put that vlog together and put it out for you all to watch. And while I like doing them and I know that people find value in them, I also don't want it to take away from my personal time, because if I'm not well rested, then it's going to show, and I think it's already been showing. Normally I'm in unit 3 by now, and I just started unit 2 on Monday. So I have a plan for that. That's why I'm using the Canvas system, and I've created videos of me teaching concepts for students to go home and watch for homework. Wednesday, I just had students finish up the learning stations. I actually had really bad allergies that day. I took 2 Benadryls, one in the morning and then one towards the latter half of the day. And then students who finished, what I did, I told them they originally had homework if they were supposed to go home and watch these videos over density, me working various density problems, and watch it on Canvas as part of their homework assignment. But I said, hey, if you finish, I will enable the modules and you can watch them in class and start working on them and ask me questions. So they were able to start on that. And the reason I did that is because I was going to be out on Thursday. I had a field trip. It was my first field trip in over 10 years. I went with 5 students in the Cambridge program, the dual credit program, to UT Austin. That was fun, and only 5 were able to go out of the 14 because the other students, there was a football game, so many of them were in band or cheerleading, and so they had to be a part of the pep rally and then also get a ride to the game. And I was told originally that the buses don't pick people up from field trips until after 4:30 because that's when high school ends, and they wanted to make sure that they carry out their routes, and that we probably wouldn't get picked up until perhaps maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, and wouldn't make it back until 6:30, and those students didn't want to chance it, which is understandable. However, the bus picked us up at 4:30, and we returned back to campus by 5 p.m. Anyways, let me backtrack and talk about that a little bit. So I decided to let my sub be in charge of my laptops. I was able to meet her before school started and before we left. So I just told her like, hey, you know, please make sure that, you know, all the students have a number. Please make sure that the laptops get placed back. I also gave her some helpers on the board. So I wrote on the board for 6th period and 7th period. These are the students that I want to help you make sure that the laptops are placed back. So I put 4 students just in case like 3 of them were absent. Hopefully one of them in that period was there. The sub, she left me a great note, and then the students, when I saw them again on Friday, they, you know, responded very well. Like, yeah, we had a great time. We watched the videos, etc. So while I was at UT, it was interesting because, you know, the students got to meet the professor, and then we sat in on a lecture. And it was funny because I looked across the lecture hall, which was a lot smaller right now because they're remodeling parts of the campus, and so many of the chemistry lectures are moved to different areas of the campus. And so I looked across the lecture hall, and all these students had either laptops or they had a phone and they were using it. Whereas when I was a student there, I remember, because I would always bring my laptop, and I was perhaps the only person in the lecture hall of like 500 people that had a laptop. And I knew this because sometimes I would sit in the back and I would charge my laptop. That was just very interesting to me, but it also gave me an idea of what I can perhaps do to help my students be a little bit more responsible, and making sure that I'm also integrating technology in my classroom, because the professor, she was actually using these modules and students had to answer either on their phone or on their laptop during the actual lecture section. So that was great. Friday we did density, and I'm missing the piece. I think I just lost a piece. Anyways, we did density. So I started off the class. I'm going to show you these real quick. There should be 4 of these. Oh, it's behind me. So I started off the class with kind of like a density demonstration. I had an aquarium filled with water that I borrowed from the teacher next door because she teaches aquatic science. So I filled it with water, and then I put a Diet Coke and a Coke in it. And then I also had a density column with different liquids. So the warm-up question was for them to draw and sketch what they observed, and they also had to explain what they believed what was going on. So I also, again, to incorporate technology, I allowed the students to come and take pictures and go back to their tables or their desk if they wanted to do that. From there, we did the density lab, and I had purchased these because the first high school campus that I was at, the department chair there, she had purchased these for the department, and I was like the only person that ever used the set while I was at that campus. And the reason I liked it is because, number one, I was teaching that density was an intensive physical property, and if the students were measuring correctly and appropriately, they get really great results. They'll see that the density for example, these 4 pieces is the same, you know, plus or minus, you know, 1/10 of a gram, or sorry, a gram per milliliter. So I wanted to buy the set. They also have the graph, and the graph comes out, it's like a really nice slope, a really pretty graph, if again they are measuring appropriately. So based on that, this summer before school started, I looked up the materials, or looked where to buy them, and it was very expensive for a class set. So there are 12 substances. It was $116 plus tax and shipping, so $130. My experience with the customer service wasn't great because I had emailed them and they never responded to me. So had I not used these before, and had I not had experience with students obtaining great data, I probably would not have purchased them based off the fact that they ignored my email and just placed me on their subscription list without really me giving them my permission to do that, because I just emailed them. I didn't say, yeah, I want to subscribe to your newsletter. So with that said, my 8A classes are, my battery's about to die, so I was going to explain how I use these, but my battery's about to die. So my 8A classes are going to do this on Monday, so I guess you'll just have to wait until next week for me to explain how I use these in class. So stay tuned for that. Well, that's it. If you're interested in checking out some of my other clips, you can do so by clicking on any of the links right here. If there was anything about this particular video that you liked, then make sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and or share the video. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe by clicking on the link right here, so that way you can bond with James. As always, thanks for watching.